Welcome back to Ask the Energy Advisor. I'm your Noble REMC Energy Advisor, Brian Hawk. Today's video is going to be on something that I really never gave any credit to, and that's range anxiety. We've had this Mustang for a little over 2 years now, and I got pretty comfortable in my routes. Didn't really think range anxiety was a problem. Up until about a month ago, I would have taken you right to the Ford Pass app. I would have taken you to the trip planner charger. Very simply, I was very excited. I would just tell you that Ford's going to take you right to the Electrify America account, and it's going to take you here. It's going to show you what your battery level is, how long it's going to take to charge, and get you back on the road. They do that to the entire destination of your trip. Well, unfortunately, I got very comfortable in my route. I was recently down in Indianapolis for about a week-long training, and I had a 2 home-based charging network that I knew I could go to at any time. Well, the long and short of the story is the DC fast charger that I was used to was no longer active, and my level 2 charger that I used next to my hotel kept kicking me off. So I found myself on Thursday night with 62 miles of range, needing to drive 160 miles home the next day. Fun fact is, we got it worked out. The unfortunate thing is, I spent about an hour and a half, not in sheer panic, didn't really cry, but I was close to it, not knowing how I was going to get home. Unfortunately, I only had 3 of my filters active on my app, so part of this is my fault. But even with that, we've got a charge point charger right here, Noble REMC installed. Obviously, I think you can see and hear the traffic behind us. We've got it on a major highway. But the Ford Pass app kept taking me to ChargePoint DC fast chargers that were unavailable or out of order. So that's what put me into the panic. Again, I was very comfortable driving around Indianapolis because I had done it before, but when I got down there, my world was turned upside down because the chargers that I was used to were not working. Just an eye-opener for me. I felt like we needed to shoot this video to let you know I got to eat a little crow on this one. So it is a possibility. One thing you can do is get very familiar with your apps. If you've got a Ford, if you've got a GM, if you've got a Tesla, just get familiar with your apps. I didn't know it at the time because, like I said, I'm so used to having a home base or 2 home bases down there. But there are public, I think it's called plug share, where people will go on there and actually, if they visit a charger and it's out of order or unavailable, they will label it as out of order or unavailable. So that's going to be a little bit more reliable app for you to make sure when you're down somewhere, especially if you've got a comfort level and all of a sudden that charger's not active, here's an app for you that says these are. So just a little bit about our experience with range anxiety. Kind of wanted to touch base also with how manufacturers are addressing that. You may or may not have heard or read that Ford and GM recently signed a deal with Tesla. I just read this morning that Nissan has just signed a deal with Tesla. I'm not as familiar with the Nissan deal, but Ford and GM, the Tesla supercharging network will be available to Ford and GM EV drivers in 2024. So that brings an extra 12,000 chargers online for existing Ford and GM owners and future Ford and GM owners. Major things are pretty much happening on the charging network. One of the things that I would say, I'm a Ford guy through and through, so this pains me to say, I was very disappointed that there wasn't a Ford dealership in the area that had a DC fast charger. I have talked with one of our local Ford dealerships, and they are actively in talks with Ford. Ford is actively in talks with their dealerships. It sounds to me like there's going to be DC fast charging available at a lot of the Ford dealerships. Also going to be level 2 if you wanted to stick around for a while, but the DC fast charging is really where the rubber hits the road. It's going to get you on the road much quicker. In my experience, it would have solved all of my problems in 45 minutes. So Ford's making headway on that. I believe GM is going to be doing the same. As we talked about, ChargePoint is the charger we chose. All of these networks are getting better and better. It's just unfortunate that, we've got something so cool that we want to take everywhere, and that network just isn't quite there yet, but it's rapidly being deployed. There's been a ton of money, actually a $1 billion settlement, $1 billion plus settlement is funding a lot of this infrastructure. So working with some of the small cities in our area. They're looking at putting DC fast chargers in at the town squares. So it's really starting to pick up, gain steam. You know, again, we just really wanted to touch base, talk to you about our experience. We promised we would be honest with you. Love the car, absolutely love the car. As always, if you have any questions about this or anything we've discussed in the past or any of your energy needs, feel free to give me a call. I'm Brian Hawk, the Energy Advisor at Noble REMC.